Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? And this is a look at a brand new version of the LG V30. Now, if you were looking for something that was truly revolutionary from LG, you may not be finding it here. This is basically the LG V30, basically all of the same specifications with a couple of changes. Now, the 6GB of RAM is a nice welcome addition, and the one that we are using in this video is the new Moroccan Blue. We went for the blue one over the platinum gray one, which looks just like a darker version of the silver that we had in our review already. On top of the bump up in RAM, you also get a huge bump up in storage. 128GB or 256GB of onboard storage are available in this version as well. Everything is the same here, right down to the materials, the feel, and also the cameras. You still get the wide-angle lens on the rear, and you get the front-facing camera that admittedly is not the best one of the bunch. But what LG is trying to introduce, at least in the LG V30s ThinQ edition, yes, that is the full name of this phone, the LG V30s, as we'll call it here, is the one that is supposed to bring more artificial intelligence features. And it mainly has to do with a couple of camera modes. Go into the camera and there are a couple of buttons there that allow you to do a few different functions. One of them in particular is an AI lens, which uses some machine learning in order to figure out what kind of subject is in the frame. In a lot of cases, it's going to be pretty obvious. You're probably pointing it at a person and it will change the settings to better suit the kind of photo you would want of a portrait, for example. Or if you have a piece of fruit in front of it, then it'll say that it's food. We did do a somewhat unscientific test where we had a person, and the camera did denote that it is a person in front of the camera, hold up a piece of fruit to cover their face and see if it was going to change it up. Well, we think that because it kept seeing the hand, that it kept seeing a person, which is kind of fair. Once we put this orange down on a table and pointed the camera at it, it was like, okay, this is definitely food. I did use it for a couple of other situations as well. It did find that this was a flower, even though it is a fake set of poinsettias. And then from there, we were able to go to the Q lens. The Q lens is the other option here that is supposed to marry not only user input, but also some artificial intelligence features you might see on other phones where it's going to search or do a reverse image search on, in this case, Amazon, Pinterest, or you might just want to scan a QR code. All three of those options are available on the bottom, and if you get your subject into frame and then select which network you want to search, it will figure out what that item is. Now, obviously, systems like this, even ones we've seen on Bixby and on Google Lens, aren't always perfect. We did scan a book and it did find it on Amazon, but the other items are just vague enough that it wasn't really looking for the specific bottle of wine in this case. Instead, it just found bottles of wine. LG has also changed up the camera a little bit to provide what is called a bright mode, where they take 4 groups of the megapixels, the 16 megapixels in the camera, groups them together to flood more light into the sensor, but you get a 4 megapixel picture. Now, inside of the camera, it will just automatically figure out that you need the bright mode on, and there's an icon to turn it on and off. So if you were looking for a huge announcement from LG here at MWC 2018, you might be a bit disappointed, just like we were. Now, we're always going to enjoy some different design choices, but other than the color and the 6GB of RAM, there's really not much differentiating this phone from the LG V30s that already exist out there in the world. LG was pretty quick to say that they do have some huge announcements coming a little bit later this year, but right now they are sticking to this new idea that they're going to do incremental improvements onto the phones that already exist that they know are already successful. Now, though we are going to do a full review on this phone, mainly over the AI features, we can say right now that if you already have an LG V30, then maybe this upgrade is not something you would want to consider. But if you've been holding out until now, you might already be missing out on a great video camera on the LG V30, and now it comes with a new color. In any case, keep it tuned to Android Authority for all of the best, including more on this, the LG V30s ThinQ. And you can stay tuned for all of the great announcements that we're seeing here at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, Spain. Remember to head over to AndroidAuthority.com for even more of all of that coverage, and then subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because we are your source for all things Android.